DJ Terrestrial.
We're going to move on to our next expert. Shane, if you could come off of mute, we're going to ask you that easy question to ease in and then try to make it more difficult as we go along. So I'm going to ask you the same question, and Debbie's going to be shocked. I'm going to ask her the same first question. What does speak your value mean to you? What does speak your value mean to you?
Sure. So as a diversity, equity, inclusion practitioner, I think speaking your value is both from a philosophical perspective, something that we just need to do, but from an operational perspective, something that we all need to practice. I think for a great many people who do not think about their elevator pitch, it can be very difficult to pull all that information together on the fly. So having it as how would you explain your job to a sixth grader is a great segue into how would you explain your job to someone you're just meeting in a compelling and interesting and animated way. I also think that from a DI perspective, there are particular elements of the exercise that are actually very important for people who are the first in their families to have gone to college, first in their families to be in professional class jobs, and then also people who have immigrant heritage, which are all categories that I identify with. Because as someone who grew up in an immigrant family, oftentimes I was told, well, just let your work speak for yourself. That works for some, but it does not actually work for most. And if you are not sharing with people how you have added value and you're not able to do it in a succinct manner, and I think of what we learned at, Dr. Donald, I'm also an Amazon alum, a long recovery. But there were some things that they offered that were actually quite good. So, one of the messages they said to us is, people who do not make it through the Amazon interview process, their responses usually lack depth, data, and detail. And that 3Ds is also something to think about when you talk about speaking your value. So how do you take what you might be doing that might seem either abstract or vague, but then also make it particularly concrete? So that's what I think about the value of speaking your value. It's both great practice, but then it also levels the playing field. So for those of us who might have gotten the incomplete narrative that, letting your merit speak for itself, that presumes that everybody's able to see and interpret your merit in the same way. And that's not consistent. So how do you make up the difference? Speaking your value.
I love, and I think what you hit on is having your elevator pitch, right? As a facilitator and trainer for so many years, you'll ask somebody in a networking group, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a branch manager. Well, congratulations. I now know your title, but I know absolutely nothing about what you do, right? So you're hitting near and dear to my heart. So something else that is definitely near and dear to my heart is what you do for a living is DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. So, I think this is a hard question, but maybe you'll make it sound simple to us. So how important is DEI? And then to me, what I'm really excited to hear about is what role does DEI play within an org?